Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Dropping Down from the Rafters podcast here on Toned Entertainment. Joining me on this episode, he is absolutely no stranger to the channel, but every time we talk, it's always backstage. It's always for 5 or 10 minutes because show days are busy. But this particular guest has been in the game for a while, and I feel like there's a lot to dig into. And of course, it's always a pleasure because he's just such an awesome dude as well. And that's the Authority, Eddie Taurus. How are you doing, Eddie?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, Tony. How you doing, man?
I'm
Yet again,
doing
it's like I just saw you a couple weeks ago. You know what I mean?
seriously, man.
Yeah,
We did a podcast for Pro Wrestling Action,
yes, you
and
did.
I think we got to do more of those because that was a lot of fun.
I agree. I think that was fun. It's good to see. It's like the Brady Bunch. I'm looking up and down, like just. But it was great, man. I got a lot of you, and then just to see other people interact, and and everyone talk about them, highlight the show and things like that. So, hey, if you ever do it again, you know who to call.
Yeah, no, it was one of those things. It was an idea that came in my mind, right? Because I'm like, you guys know, obviously, I was a Florida guy for many, many years, and I'm up here in Georgia now. But damn it, I still miss my CCW guys, my Pro Wrestling Action guys, my Pride of Wrestling, my establishment people. And I'm like, I got to find a way to keep connected with you guys because I'm invested in your guys' stories and stuff. And I had the idea. I reached out to the powers that be at Pro Wrestling Action, and they said go for it. I said okay, for sure. And yeah, I definitely think we need to run one of those. Hopefully, maybe back for a future show. Definitely.
Yeah, it definitely opens up a lot of people's opinion. And again, like everyone individually, we're all different. So then everyone obviously plugging it, you get more content. And of course, more people are going to watch it, right? And then know what's going on. And it's just a constant engagement, man. I get being the old guy and all that, old guy, it's like I'm open to the idea. So many new multimedia facets, you know what I mean? There's so many outlets, there's so many opportunities to promote. So the fact that you give that, and you again being a Florida guy, you always be a Florida guy. I don't care where you at. You always be a Florida guy, okay? Forever, you know? So
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm keeping the area code and the phone number. It's not changing. That's for sure.
good, good. There you go, good. Smart guy.
Yeah. Cherry Bombs is excited. 3 hearts for the Authority tonight here.
Three. All
Three,
right.
just three.
I want the- Oh, I know. Oh, I know. Three. I want that Meltzer system, okay? I want it
Oh,
more.
okay. Well, I mean, Eddie, I'm just kind of a freestyle type of guy. So let's go. Let's talk about the Meltzer system, right? Because you
Oh,
know,
we're gonna go into that. Oh, I think I'm losing you here. Uh-huh.
we're in Timbuktu out there somewhere. Hold on,
Yeah, we're having some problems. We're good.
there we are. Good. I can see you. I can see you.
Okay, okay. All right, all right. See, we say Meltzer, and he tried to ruin this game, right? That's what happened.
Seriously, I think there's something in the
Uh,
matrix out there when you mentioned that. Now, Cherry Bombs posted the 3 hearts. He said that 5 stars and stuff like that. Have you ever been rated any matches in Meltzer's ratings that you know of?
have I been rated?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I've been rated. I don't think I don't. If I'll be surprised. I don't think I fit the mold. I don't. Plus I don't have the capital to get those nice stars. But
Oh,
you know what I mean. It's like, but let's be real. Like it's. I don't know. To be honest with you, it'll be funny. It'll be one of those moments where like he watches a match I do, and he's like, oh, I would have rated, but then he went on, you know, Tony's show and decided to go ahead and blast me. It's all
right.
right. You know what I mean? But I mean, I've never been rated on system like that, like on Meltzer's system, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's all right. I think I'm doing okay.
Okay, no, you're doing good. But and
All
I'm kind of like a guy that's like, okay, if you're a 5-star ratings, right? Like stick within the 5 stars because so many people, oh, there's only been so many 5 stars, but now there's like
right.
5.5 and 6
Yeah.
and something crazy. Does that make any sense to you as a
Yeah.
professional wrestler?
It's one of those things when I came up, you know, the business like calling each other 5-star matches was always in the caliber of like the Bret Harts and the Mr. Perfects and raise, like Shawn Michaels, the workhorse era. And I think 5 stars were always given to like the Japanese wrestlers, or especially when Ring of Honor started and that movement. We all characterize all that based off like, oh, that's 5-star match, because you have to have a tier. Saying 10 stars is way too many, right? I don't know the original concept behind it, but just like it's just one of those situations where like it's individual. Like you're gonna Meltzer has his system, and as a writer, he's going to go ahead and come up with his own concept of what's considered 5 star, right? And then obviously people follow it. Doesn't mean that people who don't get 5 stars aren't worthy of 5 stars. Like I've seen some matches and qualities of people's matches or talent, like oh that's a 5 star match, and then you see another match that should have been 5 stars, like 2. I'm like, who was he watching? You know what I mean? Like we get it. You love Osprey. We love it. I get it. And Osprey's great. But there's times where I've seen Osprey's matches and I'm like, that wasn't 5 star, man, compared to maybe a match later on the card or another match on the same product. So I was like, that's not 5 star. Like, but and then you try to find his system. And it's like, I don't know. I think everything's individual. Wrestling is so interpretive now. It's like people find different ways to rationalize their systems and ratings. And like for me, I use Grizzle Rants to kind of go off on things, and I'm sure we'll get on that later. But when I get asked what I think about matches, it's like in so many tiers. We go always fascinate like, oh, what's the most over match ever? What match got over the most, right? What got conceptually, but 5 stars right now, it's like so. I don't know. It's so interpretive. Like you don't know what it is. Like you could meet her by AEW's way, or you could go by WWE's way. You could go by TNA's way. You know what I mean? It's certain New Japan. I think it's selectively individual. Like if you do it and I do it, we might have 2 different matches as 5 stars. Doesn't mean you're right and I'm wrong or vice versa. It's just the way you see it. You know what I mean? And what you prefer a match to be. And it's kind of hard to be biased in that situation. You know what I mean? It really is. In my viewpoint.
Have there been any matches that you've been, at, on the same card that you would consider that was a 5 star match on a show that you've been on?
Recently?
Or
Like
no, I mean
recent,
throughout your history.
oh
Like
man. Oh my God, dude. There's been so many matches. I've been doing this for a long time.
you have been.
Um, it's yeah, what I mean. It's like I on Independence, man. There's so many people that I like to be like I've like just to put it out there. I used to run shows. I used to book shows. I used to run matches. I used to agent. I made myself so like a utility hitter in baseball. I did it all. Like I had to because you never know. The business was always. I always went up to the like the peaks and the valleys of it all. So matches to me, I watch it for every value. You know what I mean? It's like some matches might have like the most reaction from the fans and have more salesmanship and have more character work. And that might give me like, oh, that's a 5 star match because they had all these elements. And then other matches might be, oh man, this guy showed like a physical display. They went out there and they chained it up and they did some great, transitional match movements and all the other terms that we use, spots. You know what I mean? And they got over, and I was like, that's great. For me, I never looked at it like what's more 5 star. I think whatever got what's over to me. Like I use the term over. Like, man, that match was so damn over. You know what I mean? Because it hit so many marks, and they may hit me in so many different ways. So I like to look at it wrestling. Believe it or not, people think I don't. I look at wrestling really wide. You know what I mean? I look at so many different ways. Like I don't fixate on one. I think every match could be tiered differently, so that it gives everyone everything they want. The fans, the promotion, and also even some of the boys and girls in the backyard watching that want to inspire to do something different. We need those meter systems and stuff to kind of like rationalize who's going to be up, who should we emulate to be, where should we be at compared to here. You know what I mean? 5 star gives you that. Oh yeah, I want to be 5 star, and that might be somebody's goal. I want to be a Meltzer's top 5 star match. For me, I'm a little bit more. I'm a lot more open minded to different types of 5 star matches for me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I was gonna say you said open minded and looking at things
yeah.
from like a wide perspective, and you have been doing this for was it 19 years?
Oh, 23 years.
23. Okay. See, I was trying not to
23.
say 20. I was trying to
No,
be
no, you got. I'm not insulted. It's like when people ask me how old you are, and I'm like, what do you think how old I am? You know what I mean? And like,
right.
and then they hit a younger number. I'm like, I love my age. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I'm proud of my age, but it always feels good once in a while to say, oh, you've been doing it for, and then I have to say, oh, I've been doing it for 23 years.
And they're
Yeah.
like, well, I'm only 21 here in
Yeah,
the
you've been doing it. Well, yeah, you've been doing it as long as I've been alive. You know what I mean? It's like, okay.
That's
Uh,
insane because me and you are about the same age, Eddie. And it's kind of like, I meet people too, and they're like, yeah, I was born in this age. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I was working my job. Like, I was already graduating from college
oh
when
my
you were
God.
born. It's crazy though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, bro. I was raised, yeah, I always tell people all the time when you were born, I just, like I was wrestling and raising a kid. You know what I mean? I had a brand new baby, like same year I got into wrestling, I had a brand new son, my firstborn. And and he's 23 years old, so my son's as old as my wrestling career, you know what I mean? So
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, that's what happens, I mean, I'm 43 now, you know what I mean? So half of my life I've been wrestling. So you think about it, a little bit over 3 years over, and it's like I've seen. I like to use that Hamilton term. I've always been in a room where it happened, but I'm like that Where's Waldo guy in the back scene. Like I was there. May have seen so many things, but I'm not visible. You know what I mean? Like I've seen so many things, in my time and in the rest of it in career in the business, but never been in the forefront of it. You know what I mean? Like working your way up. It's just a generation. So it's crazy. Like now I'm a little bit, I like to say people know me well now better in independence, and not just in Florida. And it's also because of my rapport and like social media and things like this, like showing that at my age, I'm still doing it at a high level, you know what I mean? And perform at a high level because I expect myself to meet that high level, you know what I mean? So like 5-star matches, ratings, top 100s or PWIs, 500s, and those things are always open. I think people talk so much crap about it, but it's like all those things are important because they build, I feel, competition. Wrestling's still competitive, even if it's predetermined. It's still competitive. We're still trying to get that spot. Everybody still wants to be top. Everybody wants to be in the marquee. Everybody wants to be in the main event. Everybody wants to be champion. Everybody wants to be billed and like want to be in the forefront of it all. And those things give you that. You know what I mean? They put a lot of light into things. Like honestly, I think if people didn't like I mean everybody those who like wrestling would have watched Osprey, but I think if guys like Meltzer and other people not praising him, I might disgruntled moments with that with how he thinks at times in matches, but at that moment you may think like you think people will really look at Osprey as much if it wasn't for guys like him that didn't glorify him as much. You know what I mean? Because even if you hate him or love him, you're still gonna watch it because someone's talking about him a lot. You know what I mean? And that's important. Good press, bad press is still press. You
Let's
know?
talk. Yeah, I mean, over your 23-year career, I mean, obviously things have changed a lot in how you even promote yourself and stuff. And I do have to give you a lot of credit because even 23 years into the game, you're doing a lot of things on a higher level, both in the ring and I feel like outside the ring as well too. And I was actually telling my wife today, as I was just browsing your Instagram today, I'm like, look at Eddie. Eddie is like he posts every day, or not every day, but like so much content on your Instagram
Yeah.
that as me as a podcaster, as an interviewer, when I go to set up interviews with people that I see on the cards and stuff, I look at their social media first to see kind of like a little backstory. And
Yeah.
some guys I can find nothing. Like they have
Yeah.
7 pictures, and I'm like, you've
Yeah.
been doing this for 4 years, and you have 7 posts. I'm like, and Eddie's posting every single day, and he's a veteran into this game. Like, does it kind of blow your mind, Eddie, to see younger guys not using the tools that you guys and girls didn't have
Mhm.
23 years ago that are literally at their disposal and so easy to use, not using these things to help kind of like boost them just
Yeah.
with notoriety out there?
Yeah, I know 100% all the time. Like it's a problem even with working with promotions, like local promotions or like for instance like CCW and they run so many shows in the state alone. Um how hard it is not why would you not want to promote yourself? Like why would you not you're the product. Like I think as we're all individual, like we're a community, but when we get into the scene, like when I was trained Steve Kern and Jimmy Del Rey, they never said we're going to give you the top spot, right? Excuse me. Um, we're not going to give you anything. We're not going to promise you anything. We're going to give you the tools to be successful and go on and see what you can do, and then go from there. And that I feel like I'm I'm the seller, and I'm also the product. I'm selling myself to everyone. Like I'm trying to convince you to buy into me by, and I have to give you the tool, show you what I can do. You know what I mean? So I'm door to door. I look at wrestling like door to door. You know, the business was always built on salesmanship and marketing. And back in the day, you know, like when I was coming up, it was just at that videotape, VHS, DVD era. You know, we didn't get like SD cards yet. You know, like that's just the generation that we came in. So I remember like back in like when I started, I used to send like my tapes to OVW. You know what I mean? Like just to show what's going on. And you know, you'll never know. You used to hear like they'll stockpile them or they'll throw them in like donut watch bins, you know? And then like years later, you had DVDs. So then you mail them or you show up to shows and you know you give yourself to to the promoters and then you help out as you should and young guys and young girls and do your pay your dues, you know, like, which people hate to do nowadays. But you know, it's like, but promoting yourself, marketing now, when like MySpace days started, I realized, wow, man, you could get more avenue with this. And then Facebook came out right after that, Twitter, you know, everything else, Instagram, now TikTok. You're not promoting yourself and you're relying on the promotion to do it. Give them an incentive to where I feel if I promote myself, like I made flyers for shows I wasn't even promoted for yet. You know, like, or I work, or Eric has helped me build something up. You know, Dr. Eric Christopher, same thing, you know, who works for me. We will put something out there before someone else does. Be ahead of the curve, get the momentum rolling, get the likes going, it's so easy now that it baffles me at even my age that you're not doing it. You know, people ask me, oh, if you keep promoting, what does that mean? You're promoting within yourself. Yes, to a point. Yeah, maybe the 2,000, 3,000 people who are my likes or friends are going to watch this, but maybe they'll reshare it. Maybe they'll, you know, click on my videos and reels and share that too, or, you know, buy my shirts on, you know, whatever. And I believe in the old ways of like when you promote shows locally, you go to local vendors, you go local sponsors, you go to everywhere, you drop flyers. If I can get one person to buy a ticket, they might tell two people to come with them. Means two people bought tickets, and then those two people, you know what I mean? That's just the way it works, right? And then so if I get you to come to a show, if I get one of the 2,000 show up, that one person may put it over so hard that 5 or 10 more might come, and that's what it works. It's just the way it works, and I understand that being knowledgeable to the game, but I learned from great promoters and people I knew in the business, but I also figured it out not only being a father, but learning the curve of kids and how they do things now. But like this works for me too. You know what I mean? Between that and the cosplay stuff that gets me so many reviews, it's like all that's intermingling. So they wonder, oh, you get over because you're you. No, I get over because I market. I get over because I'm not only good at my job, but I also market myself because I am the product. You know what I mean? So why would I not sell me to everyone to want to buy? You know, and they don't get it, and they look confused until they realize when they do get it and they follow the rhythm. You can't wait for people to do it for you. You got to do it for yourself. You know, if you don't do it for yourself and you sit back and wait, you're not going to go nowhere. And then you're going to wonder, oh, poor me, I didn't get nowhere. You know, you didn't get nowhere because you didn't work, and everything you do is work. I'm no stranger to work. You know, I work my ass off, and I'll keep working you know, and only not because I have to prove anything. I proved it more times than many. I do it because I have an expectation for myself, and that's where I need to meet. And if I don't meet that level, then why am I going to keep doing it? So that's part of the game. The gym, training in the ring, the psychology, the tape and work, all the time I put. Marketing is a 50% of that. You know what I mean? As you know, you know, you promote your stuff and look what you do. You know what I mean? And what you're doing, and people wonder why, you know, other people outside get so many things like podcasts like yourself and things like that, interviewers, oh, they put themselves over. Why not? If you're not going to do it, they're going to do it for themselves. I'm not mad at that at all. How can we work together to make that even stronger? You know, make that more viable, bring it out. It's a wide world out there. Why are we not taking advantage of getting those likes? You know, that's my viewpoint on it. Some people don't agree, but then again, I don't lead by example. I try to be the example. And if you don't want to follow, that's fine because I'm going to continue to be that example.
Yeah, Cherry Bombs, I think agree. She says, I appreciate this message. You are the product.
Boom.
Rewind 89 is in the house. He says, if I'm being honest, if you're at my door, Eddie, I wouldn't answer, especially at night. You look intimidating. He thinks you're intimidating. He thinks you're.
Yeah, I see that. I saw that. Oh, no, we have a little lag here. Yeah, can you see me? I think we were lagged a little bit.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, dude, that was great. Okay, yeah, kind of lagged. It was great. I saw that, Hey, I listen. I'm smiling. Am I intimidating smiling? Like, I guess most of the time I'm always frowning. I'm always like, like this is my, that little. I can't do it now, but that little, you know.
It has to come natural because I have a similar look that my wife will tell me. She's like, "Oh, you have that serious face. Do it." And I'm like, I can't do it. It's natural.
Yeah, it's a natural frown. Of just I have this nice little clunk of meat right here. You know what I mean? So of course when I go here, it goes like that. I'm like, like all right, like it's a gift that I was just born with. I can't tell you about it. So
Yeah, no, you were talking about the easiness of like how to promote yourself these days. And I was thinking to myself when you were talking here, I was like, when I was doing stuff for my shoot job, I would have to mail VHS tapes to people or drop them off at people's houses. And like, it's all on YouTube in like 30 seconds now. It's crazy that it's
copy
so
link,
easy.
copy link and paste, bro. Copy link and paste. How hard is that? It baffles me. I'm busy. Like I mean, I have responsibilities. I work. I got my children. I got other things outside of wrestling. Wrestling's not my life. Wrestling is part of my life. It's a side job for me. I make money off of it. Yeah, I do well in it, but this is not what I do. It's like if I have the time, but I have the time to do it. The excuses are literally left at the door. I don't even open it. I don't want to hear it. You could talk it out loud and you could talk to yourself about it, but like you said, you're not gonna get nowhere. You're like you left Florida to go. And this is a put over for you. Put over for you. You left Florida, was doing interviews over here. Go to Georgia. Look what you're doing now with TCW and doing with that with QT and stuff. People in the business who've been doing it for longer than you have, in the ring or out, regardless, it all encompassing, all work together. Everyone serves a purpose, not just the workers. And it's like, look what you're doing. That's got to be hard because there's a lot of y'all too. You know what I mean? All these guys who I get asked all the time by people who have not nearly the production value you have, and like, oh, I want to have, and they'll have no content. They'll just talk to you like one way, not to down them. It's like, so what's your favorite wrestler? Oh, what's your favorite moment in WrestleMania? Are we talking about me or just experiences we're having in wrestling? Like so like what's going on. Like you're marketing yourself. So when you go somewhere, people are like, oh, he must have got that because he knows the right people. No, you got that because you work for it. You don't know what you're doing behind the scenes, what you're sacrificing to get there. No one ever likes to see the duck. They like to see the duck on water, but never see how much feet is running underneath it to keep it maintained, right? That's where we're at. You're here and you're calm and you're like, oh, because you have to be, but you're working. You know what I mean? You're maintaining. And it's like, it's in every aspect in life, work, wrestling, everything. And that's just the way my psychology is and just everything I do. Is it always a perfect science to it? Do you not, there's going to be a lot of failings and fall downs and make mistakes? Yeah, of course. But how you learn? How you learn if you don't try? I'd rather try and fail than say I didn't try and then sit with the fact that I never even did it. And then years later, I'm like, man, I should have did it. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's sad because I see a lot of guys from my era, love them to death, came up. They quit for whatever reason they have because the business was pretty bad at one point in time, even independently, especially independent. If the business and the high level is low, trust me, independence is even worse. And it's like, but sometimes, especially with COVID, after COVID, independence became much more of a commodity because people want to get out of the house. They didn't want to stay home and watch TV no more. They want to go watch, and so they see local entertainment. So then independence flourished. From like COVID now to this, like, ooh, people want to show up to shows when it became, acceptable social wise, distancing wise. But people don't want to put the work. No one wants to try, and they want to make 100 excuses, and they want to say, poor me, and woe is me, and it's you, and that. It's all right. Me and Eric are doing our thing, and we're doing it the best of our ability, and look what we're doing. You know, that's it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, let's bring up the good doctor while segue into that.
He's probably
Obviously,
watching. He's probably watching.
he, you know, we grew up again around the same time, and I was a huge fan of managers back in the days too. And we've had some manager talk and discussion and stuff like that. And Eric is one of the few guys that's actually still doing it. And not only doing it, but he does it at a super high level, probably above. I can't think of any other managers in wrestling. I'm going to say wrestling, period, that do it like Dr. Eric Christopher. And I'm saying this for real. What would it take to get more managers maybe back in the game of wrestling here in 2025?
Man, I wish he was on here so he could tell that. I know we got to do that one day. I know we were supposed to, but we need to do that with him because
Hurricanes and everything else got in our
yeah,
way.
'cause he needs to him and I have these powwows a lot, and I'm a big fan of managers because again, like you said, grew up during this, that 80s era, Bobby the Brain, you know what I'm saying? You got guys like that. You got Bobby the Brain obviously being the epitome, of course, that's for me. Jim Cornette, of course, being another. You got, there's, even Jimmy Hart, even though I thought Jimmy Hart was a little bit more of a cheerleading style kind of guy, but he did his due diligence.
This is his job.
Yeah, it was his job, you know what I mean? Or, Master Fuji or, Mr. Fuji, and how wrestlers transitioning into that, but then those who came out and just became who they were. You got to be very hard despite the injuries. Bobby the Brain being that one of Paul Heyman that wasn't a wrestler. Look what he did. Paulie Dangerously to now, Mr. Paul Heyman. He's probably right now the most like exemplary manager in history because he's giving. He doesn't take moments away, but he knows how to maximize the moments he gives and gives it back. And then you see what he does, why he's highly regarded. And I don't care if it gives me heat. I put Eric in that level heavily. You know what I mean? Because people judge people by what they see and what they may assume. They don't know the character and person they are, who they may be. And Dr. Eric Christopher is everything you see him as a character, as a person. He's even more intricate and intelligent and wise to the game. And, and that's fundamental because he's studying, he learns, he's adaptable. He doesn't take away from me. And there's times where people are like, oh, I've never had a manager. Like I can't remember one time in one small time frame I did, but I've never had managers. So this was like I saw him and was like at a CCW show in Kissimmee. I'm like, I saw his work and I'm like, this guy gets it. He's giving it. He takes a little bit and then he focuses on him. And when the right worker is not doing enough, he takes it back. So then it doesn't take away from them and the match is collectively getting better. And I saw that as weeks progressed until, I confronted him about it, and he was like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, it's like I was humbled by that, but also seeing the quality because I see someone who matches my energy, my need to be better, my ability to grow and adapt. It's not about giving away myself. I don't sell myself short, nor does he. I adapt to a situation and still get to maintain the core values of the professional I am, as he does. So like him adapting to those him being highly regarded it may sound like I'm favorites for but like putting him over because he's my he works for me. No, it's the truth. It's proof in the pudding. Look what he's doing. In a matter of 2 years, we work with some high quality workers. There's some high quality stuff. You know what I mean? We done stuff with former champions and heavyweights like Tom Latimer and Nashville. We work QT in Tampa. We work Taven. We work these guys. It's all about that. And his work with me has made those matches exponentially better because of manager work. If you think back in the times where like Bobby the Brain will work with Mr. Perfect working this, like you think, wow, did you think Mr. Perfect needed Bobby the Brain? No. But when they were together, they were great. You know what I mean? You didn't think like, oh, he's better without him. They were just great collectively. You know what I mean? That's all that matters. Yeah, you're good, but how can you be greater? And that's what I think a successful manager does. It makes their talent better. You know what I mean? They could be great. Be greater. Roman was great. He got greater. You know what I mean? It's just some managers take away, some managers don't. Not say anything bad about any other managers in the scene, but if you're not watching Eric do his thing, then you're not paying attention to the art form here. You're really not. That's the way I look at things here with him. So Eric, cash out me my payday, bro.
Absolutely. Do you think it's more of a money thing or more of guys or girls aren't interested in doing it?
It's a little bit of both. I think people are not interested in it because managers don't get like managers get treated like not saying like they're regarded nowadays independently, especially like they're like doing the music, you know what I mean, or helping set up, rather than they don't know, like. And I always say that not to say anything rudely about promoters or bookers, but you got to look at the fundamentals here. If you give me any credit or respect, and I'm putting him over for someone to work with me, it means I know what his worth is, not because I'm just bringing my friend in to work with me. No, I know he could add value in so many facets. I think a lot of people come in and they like they don't want to be managers or valets or something. Well, managers in general, valets could be managers because Sherry was a great manager, and they called her a valet.
Elizabeth,
But
yeah.
yeah, Miss Elizabeth. I feel like, and not to say nothing about Miss Elizabeth. Miss Elizabeth was just like a placeholder to me. Not to say ill of her. I love Macho Man. Trust me, I do. No one's a bigger fan of Macho Man than me. Maybe Jay Lethal, but you know what I mean.
Or Ray Fury.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean. But I'm just saying because he did a character. But I love Macho because I got to meet him. I got to meet him back before he passed in Kearns, and I was WrestleMania 3. But Sherry was a wrestler first. She stopped wrestling to become a manager. And if people don't know her story, look at Dark Side of the Ring. Like, it's terrible. They tell the story, and I knew that before. She took a step back from in ring work and enhanced the talent. You know what I mean? Macho Man she worked with when he became the king. She worked with Shawn Michaels. Come on. I mean, she could talk and she could react. She had mannerism and facial expressions and psychology, and she knew the game. And that's what I feel like managers don't do that. They say, oh, there's no money in or not enough prestige in managing. If you do it right and you're worth it, you deserve the credit in billing. You know what I mean? It's like, and I think people frown on that, so they want to give promotions and people who run talent don't like. I don't know if I want to bring this guy in because he's not bumping. You don't know. Eric takes a lot of bumps, maybe more than he should. You know what I mean? But if it makes sense, if it's a point where, but people want that. He gets so much heat like he has, or managers get. Like, I remember growing up, man, I couldn't wait for Bobby to get hit. And then I'll be upset Bobby didn't get hit because he was so annoying. But as I got older and wise to the game, I'm like, man, that was good stuff there, man. He sold that well. And then the Weasel gimmick, or even like, when you saw Paulie get hit, even though he's old, he'll get hit. And he shouldn't, but he is. But you knew it meant something. And that's what I think people forget to do. They are so stuck in their own mindsets of what they think the business should be like, not giving respect that some things don't need to change and a lot of things still work if you just stick to it and you become better at it, and everyone serves a purpose. There's a role for everybody. It doesn't always have to be a professional wrestler in the ring. Like, again, like the biggest stigma, wrestling is not for everyone, but wrestling is open to everyone. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean you can't play a role in wrestling. Like, you're not a professional wrestler, but you are part of the business. Your job is part of the business. Your job is the business. So you are part of the business. It's it's one of those constant battles. And me being old school, people call me old school, even though when I was back in the day when the old school used to call me new school. You feel me? I'm a hybrid. I'm in a hybrid. My generation is in a hybrid, like middle ground. You know what I mean? Like, so people like, oh, you're high school, you're old school. I'm old school to you, but I was doing spots before spots were cool. They were calling me Spot Monkey before you guys decided to make that even more of a thing. You know what I mean? During that era. And yeah, it wasn't on that level, but I was doing it here. You know what I mean? And all those big name guys that went up that I've met and worked with, those guys practice it in same shows that I'd done, and they took it here. So I was there. Like I said, I was in a room where it happened. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean that I'm going to sit there and name drop people. No, I just know I was part of that movement where the old 90s heads and those guys came off, but I went to make something new with them. But the values in management and valets and psychology and all that still plays a large marketing yourself plays a large role in current wrestling. Those practices don't have to die out because you want to change the game. The game don't need to be changed. It just needs to be improved. You know what I mean? Individually, make it better for yourself. So then everyone sees that, and then, oh, okay, now you see momentum. And now you see you know, some groundwork happening. You're breaking it. You're doing something different. It's hard to say you're changing the game when almost everything we do in wrestling starts with a headlock. You know what I mean? Like it's still you could do it any different way. It's still a headlock, but if you look at it, you might look at someone's headlock and be like, oh man, I like the way he looks. I like the way he puts himself in. It's adaptable and interpretative to every crowd, every person. I think that applies to business behind the scenes, management, marketing, everything we talked about. Everything.
Yeah, I'm being told I have a little echo when I talk, but I'm trying to figure that out right now.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that, man.
No, it's all good. Cherry Bomb says yes, hard work. Rewind 89 says Tony is hustling. He got an interview with the most intimidating man in independent wrestling, Eddie Taurus. Here,
I
let's
know
bring up this.
Wow.
Oh,
You still stuck. By the way, Matt Taven wants to kiss you. Oh God, here we go.
yeah. Rewind 89 has a couple more manager thoughts. Bill Alfonso, I believe there's a big
Okay.
Bill Alfonso hardcore invitational show this Saturday down in CCW in Pompano, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, you are correct. There's a big show coming on there. I'm not on it, but hey,
Okay.
it's a big thing for CCW. I am part of CCW. Any promotion I'm part of, even if I'm not on a show, I promote. You know what I mean? So you guys are looking at it, go check out Poppino, go watch all those shows. Doral was just this past weekend. I just, at the same time I was doing the cosplay for anime and so a lot of things going on.
Yeah. Let's talk about the energy of these crowds at these CCW shows, Eddie, because it's great. Like Atlanta has, at least the shows I've been to, have fire crowds. Like it's a different type of crowd than like Florida. Like it's a lot of like families and stuff, but they are focused on the wrestling. And not to say that promotions in Florida don't have other promotions don't have great crowds, because they do. Pro Wrestling Action,
Yeah, they
Pride
do.
of Wrestling,
They do. Yeah.
Establishment. But man, the CCW crowd for me, I always felt like, especially to me in Miami, you've wrestled in other places, but like the energy of these crowds, Eddie. I mean, what does it do for you guys and gals when you're in the ring?
Oh, I it's the more the merrier, man. I feel like I go out there. I feel like I put 100%, and if I could put 10% on that, I will. And that doesn't mean I have to like get 5-star match. I go out and put everything I got. If it's gonna be, I read the room, I read the crowd. But when you have like like the unbranded shows, like as it's structured over there back before they went down, like before they stopped doing shows, that place was weirdly packed. You know what I mean? Like,
Insane.
that's like why? It's just like it's not why in a bad way. Like this is crazy. Like Tampa is at a brewery too, and it draws ridiculous amount of people. And it's hot, or when it was cold. They're there. It's super hot. They're there. This past show was all the way to the back. Like it was like crazy amount of people. And but like Kissimmee, same thing. The South Florida shows, like the Mid Florida Event Center stuff, and all the stuff like that. I think, like you said, not to knock on other shows, 'cause I do work for those other shows too. Pride of Wrestling Heavyweight Champion. I was a former Pro Wrestling Action Heavyweight, All-Star Champion before Ray Furry punk ass took it. You know what I mean? And, act like he's the man, but I'll get on that later. Yeet yeet. But he's gonna love that. But it's like working for these shows and like CCW in general, we're talking about. It's crazy how loyal and how engaging the crowd can be, because they're super engaging. Like Tampa example, Eric as an example gets super following. They have and we can speak. Can I? Is this rated R show? Can I speak a little
You can.
PG-13?
You think I'm
Okay.
gonna censor you,
Okay,
Eddie?
well,
Come
I say
on
I don't
now.
know. Apparently, I'm the most intimidating guy in independent wrestling, so I could just come over there, go where you're at, and come after you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
That's I will
you know what
never
I mean?
censor you, Eddie.
So they call him literally like, wow, he has such a following over there in the negative. Like it's not like they call him Turtle Dick because he wears a turtleneck. You know what I mean? And literally, there's fans that come out with turtle dick signs and have done that. Just gave out like faxes, copies of papers. We walk out, papers everywhere, like it's ECW arena. Although it says turtle dick, they got them figurines. They've given, constant heat. Everyone's calling turtle dick in my match, and people like it's ridiculous how engaging. Like, come on your free time, you're doing this, and everyone's participating. If that's not great, I don't like. I'm sure we both don't love it, but if it's still not great for the show, then you're not doing your job, and you're not enjoying the thrill of what's happening. Because I love seeing crowds react. I've never believed in a crowd ever sitting on their hands. I've yet to ever face a crowd that could not get engaged. I don't care what I gotta throw at them. I'll throw everything at them. If I gotta go make fun of an old lady sitting there with a walker, I will. You know what I mean? Just to get an engagement, but it's impossible if you're doing your job right and you see them. Like that's the point, right? Like, let's be real. The ring is great, and doing everything you can in the ring is great, but that's the money right there. That's what you want. You want the engagement and the fanfare, and you want them to keep packing these shows. And I'm CCW, like we talked about, Pride of Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Action, and no simple order. Like everyone individually has their respected, like flowers. You know what I mean? They all do it. I everyone should be making. I can only speak for the shows I work for. I pay attention to other shows, but the ones I work for, right now, everyone's running with stupid numbers. Like I don't ever, I hate looking at crowds. I've been there when I'm like 50 people. I still perform my ass off for those 50 people because those people still paid to watch us. You know what I mean? Like I won't go to a play and you go to a play to watch anything on Broadway and there's only 50 people there. You think that the actors and the play, they're gonna stop performing? No, they're gonna continue to perform because that's what they do. I'm not comparing us to them, but that's simply you're still gonna perform. You think that like for instance, like I'm a Mets fan. You think if the Mets don't draw nobody, they're still not going to play ball? They're still going to play ball because they're still professionals. That's what I think wrestlers should do. And I think, like I said, I'm the word of mouth guy. I came up in that era where if you book them and you keep bringing them, they'll still keep showing up. And when I see now that the engagement and the crowd like draws, it's like, oh man, like I told if Eric was on, he'll say, bro, he knows I go crazy about it. I'm like, I love it. I absolutely love it. The more, the merrier, And now I feel like I have to add more toppings to the ice cream that I'm delivering right now. You know what I mean? Like I already know I'm gonna put everything in it. I now want to put the extra cherry, and so I can make it stand out. And I think everyone in the show that does that shit make every moment count. You know what I mean? And because then those people are gonna keep coming back, and they are every show they are. And that's amazing, and it's great, and it's great for the business, but most of all, it's great for the independent business. It's great for the individuals, So it's hard to fail in that market watching those people if you're not marketing and not taking advantage of marketing yourself, like we go back to earlier, because they're there. They want that. They want that engagement. They want that. And if you don't give it to them, they're just gonna just move on to the next person who wants it. If I want it more than them, they're gonna give it to me. It's not stealing something that you're just giving away. You know what I mean? They're there. Why not engage? And that's what you want to do. And so again, it's amazing to see that happen live.
Uh, Emma is here and she says, I met Eddie at Animate Miami just this past weekend, and he's an amazing wrestler.
I remember her. Yeah, she kept coming up to us every time, telling me we're amazing. Like I remember I walk over and she's probably the only person that says Eddie Taurus. I'm usually being called the kingpin at these events, right? Like I'm like gimmick infringement here. I'm like, oh, someone knows me. Oh, I'm so cool. Oh, I appreciate that. Thanks for that.
Now, Eddie, over the years, you've had probably countless matches, and like some of the ones that really stand out for me was like one at Pro Wrestling Action was against Sir Knight and Eric Donovan. I felt like you two guys were just like bulls colliding, and every match on that show was really great. But for me, that was like just two guys, I don't know, meat guys beating the crap out of each other, like all the kids are saying these days. But
I won't say that. I'm not saying that. I'm not. You want to say that's on you? I don't think our age says that. I think we're two heavyweights.
What the kids say.
I'm not gonna say two meats hitting each other. That ain't gonna happen. You're trying to ruin my look here, man. What's wrong with you? I can't get away with that. People are like, "Oh, Eddie's not intimidating." He's talking about two meats hitting each other. No, but yeah, I get it. I think you got me.
I got you.
Sorry, I had to move my phone for 2 seconds.
I threw a curveball there.
But I got you. I mean. Go ahead. Go ahead. You can finish what you're saying.
No, I was gonna say I threw you a curveball and you didn't buy that. No, but the match with Sir Knight and Eric Donovan, like it was just for me, like that's what I love about professional wrestling. Just two dudes beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah, I think it's a market thing. You know what I mean? Like I read what people want. I adjust. I've been in those matches where I've going with a concept and then just throw out the playbook and like we're just gonna do it. We're just gonna just give them what they want. And I've been there so many times. That's the fortunate opportunity I have for being quick on my feet. You know what I mean? I think as I get better, and I know people wonder how can you get better. I always get complimented on that. I get better as I got older, and I agree. And I think it's not just my physical, but I've always been athletic. I've always been someone to do stuff that's many don't think I can do. But I've learned to use that to my advantage and not, as you say, throw everything in the kitchen sink. Give some people to see, wow, you saw what Eddie did. like the spin kick. Everybody goes crazy for the spin kick. That's probably the oldest move. That's the first move and the oldest move I've done for years. It's been walking with me for 23 years, right? I've never changed it. I've gotten better about it, but it's also that's because of my background, martial arts, and all the stuff I've done before. And everything I do is from former athletics and stuff. But what I'm trying to say is like working someone like him with big guys, right? You could go ahead and tell a story, or you could just and I'm the heel. He's trying to prove himself to me. He's trying to win the belt that I hold and covet. I'm going to come at him. So at that point, like you said, you're going to see everything else in that show. What you're not going to see is that. You know what I mean? No one else is going to be able to deliver that because they're not big enough or strong enough to do it. You know what I mean? Or and to be honest with you, wise enough to do it. I think that if you catch that moment, like okay, we could go call these spots, or we're going to go ahead and just give them something they want to see, beat the hell out of each other to see who gets out of it alive, right? Like that's it. And that's exactly what happened, in that situation. And he came at me. He came, and I'm always grateful to work younger guys that like years younger than me, or like not that many, but because it's like I think they come in with a misconception that Eddie's an old school guy. He's not gonna go. You got me messed up, bro. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna push you to see if you can match up. You know what I mean? Because now, not saying it's like I tell myself that it's like Michael Jordan stories. Like Michael Jordan used to hype himself up and and pretend and say like certain people would say things about him when they never did. It's a story. If you watch his Last Dance, he's like, he used to say like, oh yeah, he said something to me. He looked at me the wrong way, and so he had an issue with him, and he'll go ball out. That's how I think of it. Sounds psychotic, but I feel like, oh, this guy might think coming in here, he might not. I might not step up. Oh no, no, no. Now you're gonna have to step up three more on top of me. You know what I mean? And in that situation, throwing hands, working, telling the story, getting the match engaged is like you said, that reaction you just gave me, I loved it. It's exactly why that match from what it was changed to that.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Now,
So
every night that you go out there, you're obviously taking bumps and bruises, and I see many of you guys and girls after the show with ice packs and walking around, and the bumps and bruises are real. But recently, you were in a dog collar match with David Mercury, and I know you're a family man as well too. So I know I'm sure there's always some worry, from the family going into matches. But when you go to something like a dog collar match, is there a little bit more worry on their end of maybe what you're getting yourself into for that night, or are they just kind of used to it now?
yeah, I mean, people in my family throughout the years, and my kids especially, my young kids don't really get it. Like my oldest son, he's grew up with it, his whole life with it, seeing it, he knows the inside. But they're so used to me being back when I was younger. I used to do everything. You know what I mean? Like go through tables, off ladders, and hardcore matches because that was the era, right? At that time, I grew up a big ECW fan during the '90s, so everything ECW did was great watching. Like the wrestling aspect, RVD versus Jerry Lynn, or watching Super Crazy versus Tajiri. But then you watch like Axel Rotten versus the Dudleys, and I loved it, the mixture of it, the realism of it. But now when I work matches like someone like David Mercury, who I go back with, we came up together and had story rivals and stuff like that. We knew paying homage to the history of not only just Florida wrestling, but Steve Keirn and Brian Blair and CWF. They had iconic, dog collar matches. And since we come from that area and we're trained by Keirn, and we're like, this is our way of being the Tampa guys, right? The Florida guys. And we know we're safe about it, even though it's not safe enough because we're bleeding for real. We're getting choked for real. The chain is not gimmick. It hurts. Even toward the end, he had me hung up upside down. He's pulling the chain. I'm choking. You know what I mean? My train, like I'm literally like fighting for life here. And and like my family look at me like, oh, here he's Bruce again. You know what I mean? Like I don't ever, I don't tell them. I don't tell my kids. I don't tell my mother. I don't tell none of them. My mother hates it. She still thinks I'm crazy for still doing it, and not in a bad way. You know what I mean? Like she still thinks, "Oh, you're still doing that?" Yeah, you know. But it's like I don't know. It's just something that switches on. When you do it, and I'm strong enough and smart enough, and I put myself in situations when I do those matches for the last few years. I work with the right people. Yeah, mistakes happen. It's nature of the beast. We're not like we are our own stuntmen, so we don't get two takes. We got to do it once, right? So, but working someone like David Mercury and working guys like that and talent like that know what they're doing, it makes confidence comes with the safety. You know what I mean? You know you're secured. So I usually don't ever ask for I don't ever ask permission. I always, like I always apologize. Like, hey, I'm sorry, this happened. And like, what? And then you see a picture of me gushing blood, like, oh my God, you know what I mean? I'm fine, 'cause I'm talking to you, it's like, so that's usually how it goes for me. It's been like that forever. No one likes it, but that's my approach to it. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you kind of like a business question. Like, how hard is it for indie guys and gals to make a living out of this? Because I've talked to several wrestlers recently who travel and do stuff, and they're always looking for a place to crash. Or somebody recently told me that they may have to sleep in their car for 2 nights while they're on the road because they're not making enough money at these shows to like then pay for a hotel as well too. On top of it, so if they don't have a place to crash, they're going to sleep in their car. Like, how tough, how hard is the struggle out there?
It, I can't speak for everyone else. So, I've seen people struggle. I've seen people sacrifice everything to be a professional wrestler in the independent scene. I've seen people succeed. They hustle. Like I told you, marketing nowadays, you can make money off so much now on social media, YouTube likes and reels, and there's monetary functions now, right? I mean, if I post reels, as you know, people get paid just as many clicks. You know what I mean? I realized recently, 2 years ago, I realized, oh, I looked online, you want to take out money from your Instagram? I'm like, oh, I made money. How? And I looked into, oh my God, like that's it. Me being me, an old head, right? Like but back in the day, it was hard. You have to go town to town and promotion to promotion and make a little bit of money. Like guys now are asking for these hefty paydays. I know, like at like 3 years in and not enough credibility in marketing. When back when I was like 4 years in, I'm still making $50 a match. Not saying I'm proud of that, but that was just the market during like a recession. You know what I mean? And down point in society when no one's paying for anything. Nowadays, people do, and I know a lot of veterans and other named people promote like taking side gigs, doing Ubers and doing stuff like that, and to make their way. And I think that's the way. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I've always had a full time job doing this. I got into this. I had a kid. I had my responsibility, but I still maintained. What I did part time was still more than most did full time, right? And I did it raising a kid. My struggles because I did it, and not saying it wasn't hard and didn't have its sacrifices. Oh, it definitely did, but I don't think someone should. People always say you got to be all in. Just what? I will never dive into blindly into the ocean if I didn't know what's in the water. You know what I mean? Not with the right equipment. Not with the right. That's not being. That's being suicidal. You know what I mean? That's not. And I think that sometimes people go into the business like all in. I'm gonna give them my apartment. I'm gonna bunk in people's houses. I never sleep in people's houses. I may bunk in a hotel. I never had to sleep in my car. I've been doing it 23 years. I asked about car and look what I've done. You know what I mean? I've done pretty okay. I could have done, and I've given up more opportunities because by choice. I sabotaged a lot of my growth by choice. You know what I mean? Not because I wanted to be there for my kids. I wanted, X, Y, or whatever political decision I made. But some guys go all in and then they say they're all in, but they don't invest everything. Like they don't truly invest by marketing themselves and taking advantage of other aspects. Get sponsors, make some money by try to find promoters and people who are open to making ticket deals. If you know you could draw 30, 40 people, see if you can make a deal with them, get a commission, work off that. Be a salesman. Salesmen make money. That's what America's built on. So, you know what I mean? Consumer, consume. So you got to sell the product. You are the product. Promotions the product. Sell it. Make money. I made more money outside of wrestling doing outside wrestling stuff than in ring performing. Promoting sponsors, booking, talent, all the other aspects of getting people in the door. There's ways to make money that on top of going out there having a job, part time, Uber Eats or whatever you're doing. You know what I mean? Any of those outside outlets, and not just Uber Eats. Other things like that. But um, I think it's crazy to not have a plan B, C, or D. Because what if you go all in and then you tear your meniscus completely off and you can't wrestle no more, or you have a back injury or neck injury, you're done. What then? Go to school, get a degree, work, get a side gig, get an HVAC. I don't care. Get something that you can fall back on. So then you know if you fall back on it, something ever happens, you got it. People are like, oh, I don't have a fallback. That's bullshit. You guys got you got if you ain't got a fallback, then look at all those old timers that didn't have a fallback and they were making good money, make with no insurance or nothing. And now look where they're at now at these local little shows. No offense to them, trying to make a dollar out of nothing. You know what I mean? Trying to sell old vintage videos, especially like the guys who were mid carders back in the 80s and 90s that weren't that great. You know what I mean? And not to talk crap about them, but they didn't build a backup plan. And and I think it's you know crazy not to do that. I guess mine said, "Oh, you have kids." Well, yeah, I have kids, so it's more. I have more to lose. You know what I mean? That's not your fault. But I work around it. You know what I mean? So there's no. I'm not saying it's that easy. I can't imagine individual what people deal with individually. In their lives and what their family settings are, whatever it is. But don't going all in doesn't mean you got to sacrifice everything in your life for the future. You got to plan. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. No one thought COVID would come and then the whole business is done. Imagine those guys who made nothing. They had to find work. Now you're working at some odd job making nothing when you could have prepared for this. In any dream you got, you could always have a backup plan and still fulfill your dream. I had a full-time job working 12 hours a day, raising a kid, going to the gym, and then going wrestling 4 times a week, making nothing. That was my choice, but I made it work. Now I make good pay. Wrestling's like a part-time job now where I make good money out of independent wrestling. I don't even sell merchandise, which I need to get on. But you know what I mean? And like I sell, I'm just saying, like, so, if this like my opinion is you could go all in, but you could go all in equipped. Don't go all in with nothing on you. Like as I said, don't just dive into the ocean without equipment. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna drown. You're gonna drown.
One of the topics I do want to touch on, and it's we were chatting about a week ago or so, is I try to be very careful. Like I have a lot of thoughts in my head, but I try to keep them in my inner circle. I'll discuss it with my wife, or maybe me and you have a chat outside of a public scenario.
Okay.
But every once in a while, I'll see a message come up on Facebook and it says, another grizzled rant coming soon. And it feels like as soon as you have a chance to pull over on the side of the road or wherever you at, you have to express something. Okay. So let's talk about what brings on these grizzled rants first, Eddie.
It started off years ago. Just me just saying random PSAs. And don't get me wrong, at that time in the business, I had a lot of involvement with some behind the scenes stuff with different shows. Most notably ACW early days, Proving Grounds early days, ACW Proving Grounds, and I don't know if you're around that time. Uh, I was within other structures there as well. I'm not gonna put them over because I'm not with them, whatever. But they know, and people know. And I'm a wrestler's wrestler. I'm for the wrestlers. I'm all about if you ain't taking care of the talent and you're not taking care of the people that help build this, then you're not doing it right. You're not doing your job because everyone else above is making their money and finding ways to not to nickel and dime people. So Grizzle Rancid became one of those things where I could vague book about things. People hate that. Like, I say names. I'm not gonna say names. I'm not gonna glorify them. I think it's what I say is gonna be it's more like it can touch on anything anyone may feel. Like, oh, and I get that. Oh, Eddie must be talking about me. Well, if you feel that way, then may apply to you. Because I know if I see something online and I think it's toward me, I might feel a way about it. I might think, okay, there's elements of truth there. I'm not saying I'm always right, but I used to go off about it. And then, of course, that became like, oh, Eddie, you're bitter. I'm not bitter. I love wrestling. I just may not like how people do it. I may not like exactly. That's my opinion. I have my right to not like what you do, or may not. It's not saying that I have a right to tell you what to do. I have a right to say my own social standings, and I have the right to say what the hell I want to say. I'm going to say it because I have experience to say that. On this level, there's nothing I haven't done and haven't pushed. I push more talent to go places more, and those people know who they are, and than I ever take credit for, because I believed in them. And other people do what they do. I'm not always right, but I post what I think may help. Comes off a certain way, so then it's like, oh, well, you're not bitter. Then someone say, oh, you're grizzled. You're so grizzled. I'm like, okay, and I just roll with it. And it became like a thing where, oh, he's ranting. And I just like, Okay, Grizzled Rants. Here we go. And it just came from there. And it became a thing where I would compile information, no lie, from multiple outlets. People do message me and call me. The people who, there's a lot of people who pretend to act like they don't like me, but they message me a lot. It's a work, kid. It's a work. It's
That,
a
that,
work. It's a work.
that's a reoccurring theme.
It's a,
Yeah,
oh,
with a
it's a
lot of
work, man. It's a work. It's a work. You know what I mean? But it's okay because he's like, some people don't have the platform to say it. I have no shame. I'm not gonna get canceled for posting my opinion. I'm not gonna lose an opportunity because I'm 43. My people say never. Like I'm smart. I'm happy where I'm at. If somebody wants me higher up, they'll know where I'm at. I'm gonna keep working and pushing myself and doing what I do. And people, I get a lot of respect and care from even those higher up that I know for years. And you're still doing it, man. You're killing it. But I don't know. I don't worry about the whys or why nots. I just do what I do for me and the best of my ability and the people I work with, like Eric and a lot of other people who support me. Um, so a lot of people feed information, my opinions and my thoughts, and I take that information. Like even you and I have a conversation, I put it on blast. We haven't had this, but if you did, I will never say, "Oh, man, the conversation I had with Tony." No, I'll say something, and then maybe you're like, "Hey, appreciate you may have brought that up, right?" I'm like, "Yeah," because I'm going to say it. Not because I have to say it, because I'm allowed to say it, because I have the right. I feel like I have the right to say it because I built the credibility to say it. Doesn't mean that no one else can say nothing. They're afraid to say it, or maybe they don't feel they should say it. I'm not saying everyone should be allowed to say what they think because some people may not learn how to do that yet. And I think a fair there's a dividing line between just being ignorant to the game and then being knowledgeable to the game and saying things that may come off ignorant. I think I get that a lot. Doesn't mean I'm not saying things that is not from what I would have done or I haven't heard has been done and it was practiced wrong in my perception. And not just one, many people from all generations, those before me and those behind me. And so, I'll take the brunt of it, because hey, I'll take the shots. I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about it. It doesn't affect what I do. I'm gonna, because once I get off with you, I'm gonna go back to work and do what I do. You know what I mean? And that's it. So Grizzle Rant was based off that, and it just grew from there. Like everywhere I go, I'll go somewhere else in other state. People are like, man, I love watching your Grizzle Rants. I'm like, really? You're watching it in North Carolina? You're watching it in Columbus? Like I have people watching between watching my Grizzle Rants and watching my and knowing me from my cosplay work. No one really pays attention to Eddie Taurus. So yeah, man, that's how it went. That was the origin story basically, and again, I'm excluding people's names for good reasons because like I'm not gonna praise people that no longer work with me or I, you know,
No
not
need
gonna give
to.
credit to.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not gonna give credit to those who. No, I give credit to those who deserve it. I don't give credit to those who don't.
absolutely. Well, speaking of getting to the higher level, when you Google your name and you put in WWE, it obviously mentions a match that you had on NXT
Oh,
against Heavy Machinery. But
yeah.
in the description, at least the website that I saw, it says, Eddie Taurus appeared on NXT in a squash match on
Mhm.
NXT.
Mhm.
And I mean, when you guys and gals get the call ups to WWE and AEW when you're on the indies, you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. But as a performer who knows that you can perform at a high level, I don't know, is it like a little bit of a hurt on the ego, or is it just something that you know what you're there to do a job whenever it's a quote unquote squash match?
I think that's the case. I think I grew up in the business where squash matches, jobber matches were jobber matches. So it didn't bother me that they posted squash match or whatever. I mean, it wasn't a complete squash. We had some offense. We did something. That's it. We were paid to do a job. We got an opportunity to do a job, televised, got great critiques for it. They kept using us for a year. We weren't used on many other matches, but we were there for a year doing work with them at Full Sail. If you see our other segments, we did pull aparts with Gargano and Ciampa when we were doing our feud. We did a lot of stuff. We'll get there and whatever they had. They canceled the match that we may be in because, that's just the machine. Doesn't mean we weren't there. Doesn't mean we didn't get opportunities. And so like if they book us for something, they book us for something. Then people used to talk so much about it, but now almost everybody in indies, young guys are always doing extra work. AEW, WWE. Anyway, you see a bunch of people doing security and pull parts, and people glamorize them like crazy. Like, oh my god, you saw? Oh my god, it's my boy. Oh my, and it's going on everywhere. And guess what? It works. That works for them. Like for us, like me and Damien, when we tagged there and we were doing State Line there, that was just honestly that was our last that was my last push for it. Like I went after it before back when FCW was around. I tried for that. I tried, like I said, I sent tape to OVW. I tried for TNA in the early days. I've done my full share. Like I have all the evidence with me. And I don't. It's not online all the time because again, social media started coming more prominent later. Some matches come out, some things come out. A lot of stuff is dark match stuff. A lot of stuff is behind the scenes. But those who know I was there. I'm friends with a lot of them. And the fact is like as I got later, I realized like the market for doing those kind of matches and promoting yourself. Yeah, we want to have full blown matches. You know what I mean? Like I've been in a situation where I guess this is behind. I don't know if we have enough time to say this story, but I
I'm on
I'm
your
on your
time,
time. Oh,
so
okay, all right. Well, I'll give you. You want to hear a quick little story that's behind the scenes of what happened. But I was tagging with Damien Angel. Damien Angel was going to New York to spend time with his family. No big deal, nothing. And it's not his fault. I don't blame him at all. And every month we sent information. And Ryan, at the time, Ryan Cass was in charge of doing it, and he would contact us. You guys are available? Yeah. Submit your information. The whole process goes. So I'm not gonna go reveal that, and then we get there. Great. It was great to be on that first note. Like, hey, we're gonna keep getting used, no matter if there's a spot or not. We were supposed to be in a spot, a show, 2 shows before, got canceled. So this show, he's like, there's more like you're gonna get a show. I'm gonna look at. Okay, great. I don't promises are promises. I'm not gonna hold no one to it. It's the Fed, right? We get there. I get there by myself because Damien couldn't make it. So I'm like, I'm gonna go keep face, still get paid, still enjoy some of the amenities there. So keep your face relevant. And I get there, and the first thing they said was State Line, Mustache Mountain tonight. I'm like, Damien's not here. It's like no lie. I told them that he wasn't going to be there. It wasn't something I repeatedly said. Damien Angel will not be coming with me, but I will come just to participate and do whatever you need me to do, extra work or nothing. He said, no problem, no problem. Okay, reiterate again. Again, not blaming. This is not a shitting, nobody. No, it's no one's fault. It's just the nature of the beast. This is when you say you have opportunity, right? People are like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I get there, again, I told him 2 days before, he's not gonna make it. I get there, he says, first thing he says, State Line versus Mustache Mountain. After their big NXT takeover match with, Undisputed Era and all that stuff. I'm like, full blown match entrance, full blown entrance with the graphic. I'm like, what? What? What are you talking about? Now, to many, it's like, oh, that's just extra. That's a big thing. You're getting a full 10-minute segment. It means you're going to have a match, and I'm like, okay. So he's scrambling around trying to figure it out, even though he knew what happened. And he's like, oh my God, he's not here. I forgot. Went, whatever. I'm like, I already know. Everyone, all the extras like, cha-ching, yes, we're going to have a spot, right? You know what I mean? The nature of the beast is like, damn it, if I could at least get an extra spot. And then me, I'm loyal, man. I don't want to tag with anyone else. I made this with him. So I'd rather just be a security or sit down than that. But still, like, what the hell? It kept like getting crazier and I won't go into too much detail, but everyone kept agent come up to me, hey, what do you want to do for the match? I go, he's not here. Oh crap. It kept happening. Like throughout the night, this kept happening. 4 hours waiting, right? And and it's like crazy, dude. It's like, all right. So then I remember I'm in the viewing room in the Full Sail. People remember and watching the whole event happen. I'm like, all right, no opportunities. I'm still here, whatever. So I watched the match. There's the match with Mustache Mountain. There's the 2 other guys they replaced us with, whatever. All of a sudden, you see the graphic, State Line, coming out. And it's now State Line. So, of course, you know what happens after that. Everyone's pinging my phone. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, my God, you guys. Oh, you're on. I remember one guy, Chance Champion, before. He messaged me, bro, send me a picture. I'm still there watching this after the show happened live. I said, zoom in. That's not us. Zooms in. 2 completely different people. But there's our name. There's our logo. There's our State Line name. there it is. And then I look over and I tell you, God bless Ryan. I have nothing but great things to say about Ryan Katz. But Ryan Katz was in the viewing room in the far corner. All I saw was, "I'm so sorry," and runs up. He forgot to tell the graphic team to take off the graphic. So for like the whole day and night, congratulations, reshares. I had to keep telling people individually, that's not us. That's not us. So Damien's in New York with his family doing his first vacation with his kids and stuff. I call him, and he's just literally on the subway, no lie. And look, I love Damien, but this is like, he's like, I'm about to leave. I'm gonna get on a plane right. Like, you gonna leave your kids on the subway? I'm like, bro, it's okay. He's like, you should have never win. I said, but if I never win, what if? You know what I mean? What if they gave me a singles match? What if they just to show face? Because that's, again, it sounds terrible, but I got used more after that. They were very grateful. They knew us very well. We weren't saying we were super popular. We didn't have a contract, but we to bring you back constantly and to know your name by choice, and then to be the first name they say on the card when you get there, you know that is your name. It's just that's important, you know, and anyone should be able to have the opportunity to rub shoulders because that's the goal, right? You want to make it, you know, that's the goal. Period. You want to make it, and if you're not trying to aim for the top, then why not? And at 37 years old, I'm still there. You know, I was there doing it, and it did great for me. People like you look, you're still talking about it. You search heavy machinery, you know what I mean? And is that I feel my greatest moment in wrestling? No, but it's some of my highlights. Of course, it is. You know what I mean? And it opened up so many doors afterwards. Because shortly after that, I had AEW little spot, and then other things happened, and you know, other things got around, and you know, even though you know, it's just the nature of the beast. If I would have told me at 22, 23, I'll be still doing this at 43, I would have said you're a liar. You know what I mean? But I surprised myself, and I still practice the same business tactics I've always have. I just advise them adapt and change them to fit what is currently the market now, and it works for me.
You said about keeping face, and obviously, you know, and most people know that I get to these shows 2 hours before the show, 3 hours before the show. I'm doing interviews and stuff like that. And I observe who is there. And sometimes they'll say, "Oh, who you wrestling?" Well, I'm not even on the show tonight, or I don't have a match. But these same people, they show up all the time. There's different promotions that are there helping set up the ring.
Yeah.
Is that something, as a veteran that you notice that, okay, well, this person is always here. They're working hard. Does it help in the long term, but maybe for these young guys or girls to maybe get a booking later if they keep showing up at these shows to help out?
I think I yes, to an extent, I guess,
I
and
mean,
this is
obviously you
why.
gotta have talent
Yeah, yeah. I
and
mean, it's all yeah. It's also it's talent and also for like other elements. You know, if you come up respectfully, ask permission to come up, knowing you're coming up, knowing expecting nothing, even willing to buy a ticket. I'm sorry, that's just still a business. You're still taking money. People, I think a lot of young people take advantage of that. They don't realize that this is still a business. That we're all earn the opportunity to get booked on these shows and get paid for it, and that the promoter and promoter is spending money. If it's CCW, is Action, is Pride, of all of them, they're all making money. So yeah, if you know, it's so many facets. But honestly, watching someone put the work in, hustling, and they just want a shot. I think that everyone deserves a shot. Everyone deserves the opportunity to get in there. I personally, old school, I don't like just put people in matches. I like to get in there with them and see what they're doing. Like maybe put a mock match real quick. Not a tryout, but technically it is. If you go a mock match, I need to know what you can do. Like if I haven't seen you for the first time anywhere else, and I don't want to see your highlight video. I want to see what you could do in the ring live. That's the way I've always been trained. I remember Kern and everybody else used to say, you can see in the first 30 seconds what the match is going to be, and then you could tell what's going to happen. And Mercury will know that term, but I think it's 30 seconds, maybe two, but still, it's that time frame. Like you can know how the match will go based off how they come out, how they get in a ring, how they do everything. It's like you could still. There's a lot of wrestlers that know the basics that get over so well. Don't have to be 5-star wrestlers, but still have great quality 5-star matches overall. It's a difference. That's what I say. It's interpretive. Earlier I said like matches are interpreted by wrestlers. Quality doesn't mean you're not good. to the quality of work, and so paying your dues is always like, oh man, I paid my dues. I don't gotta do it. I think it's like that even with current guys that come around to new shows that are established a little bit more, and they come around trying to get a new shows, show up, and then expect to get on. No, I personally told guys, hey man, this guy's here. Should we use him? No. You know why? Because he didn't come back here. He didn't shake people's hands. He didn't introduce himself correctly. He's not even. And then even big league people like like not like you, but people like you. Like I'm sure you got people that come around like don't even say anything to you. You know what I mean? I've always, me, I'll shake your hand. Hey, what's up? How you doing? That's just the person I am because I don't know who you are. You may be someone who runs a great promotion like this. If I've never introduced myself to you, we didn't have a rapport prior and just meeting, saying how you doing. You wouldn't be interested in talking to me right now. It's not selling myself. It's the whole point of treating people the way you want to be treated, right? We're still people. So like some young people come in, they deserve spots. I see it over a lot of the established guys, man. Not because they pay less or whatever, because they earned it more. I'm a big believer in earning your way because I've earned every bit of my way. You know what I mean? I didn't just get into this thinking I had all the skills. I came in the big man era where they wanted Batistas, they didn't want Eddie Taurus. You know what I mean? And now look at the business. You know what I mean? Guys like Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan. Not saying they ain't skilled. Look at they're small. They're short. Adam Cole. Come on, man. You would have thought then that no, but the business changed. You just gotta know who you talk to, man. I've met people back in the day that were just based like just part of the show, and then now they run shows. Now they promote, and they remember me, and they remember how I treated them. You know what I mean? How and because you never know, and that's something I adapt even back in the day when I was younger when I used to play baseball and stuff like that. You introduce you to everybody because he's always been thinking like, this is the person I am. And I think not everyone is a people person. But still, I feel character is a big contributor to wrestling. You know what I mean? If you have a bad character and you don't know how to even respect the small, even in your brain, maybe the smallest of people, I'm the first person to see that happen. I pay attention to everything. And then I'll be the guy say, hey, Tony, come hang out with us in the vet corner. And I'll make sure they know they've messed up by not putting you in there. Not because of to make a point, but also to bring someone I like. You know what I mean? And then they come, oh, can I hang out? Nah, man, we don't got no spot for you. And then you're there hanging out with us. Like, what makes him special? You know why? Because you're a good guy, and because I like you, and because you're not you. So young people getting in there and trying to train and trying to earn a way up, man, helping out is one thing. Character is another. Being professional is another. People don't practice that no more. People are like, oh, you don't hold the old school values. No, you can act old school. It doesn't mean you know old school because you weren't there. You don't know how to act. It's like people like men don't know how to be gentlemen, right? They don't know how to act character. Same thing in wrestling. You don't have to be professional. That means act appropriate, have some character.
Absolutely. Well, Emma brought up the comment, that she met you down in Miami at the, the cosplay down there at the anime, and we do know you as the Kingpin down there. And again, in my wrestling, I love all forms of it. I love hard hitting. I want a hardcore match. But more than anything, I love to be entertained. Like I enjoy good entertainment. I love cosplay wrestling, and you're rocking the Kingpin, kind of all over the country. Is there any other characters that you would like to cosplay as that maybe you haven't had the chance to?
Good question. Yeah, this is a shout out to FSCW, Fantasy Super Cosplay Wrestling. The people out there that put it together. Those guys are great. I just came out this week for Anime Miami. They also people who own anime also the people who run GalaxyCon and Nightmare Weekend. They're all encompassing. They're all running multiple shows. Just got back into Florida. They're gonna be going to Orlando soon. Like it's amazing, dude. Like I love comic books. I love pop culture. I grew up, a fan of all that. I mean, people always surprise you. Yeah, well, books are deceiving, right? You know what I mean? The cover is deceiving. Don't you gotta read into it. When I got it, like how I got into it is just by association. People like they saw a character becoming Kingpin and was like, "Oh, that's great." I did Jeffrey the Giraffe also. I was the original one. I told you that with the Gangrel and the whole. That was my first show. I did double duty. I did Kingpin and a Rumble gimmick. Left, put the whole suit on, then did that whole thing that went viral. You know what I mean? That was like that's my biggest claim to claim. 23 years, a giraffe, the Toys R Us kid moment, right? And I did it again. Last year I did it again, and I did a segment with the original Red Ranger. You know what I mean? Like imagine I'm doing a segment in the ring. It's online. You can see it where I'm in the suit doing a gimmick with Austin St. John. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then prior to that, I did the Kingpin gimmick with the Clerks, the original Clerks. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
Kevin
Like,
Smith.
yeah,
Yeah.
Kevin. No, Kevin, not Kevin Smith. It was
Oh, the clerks
Brian,
themselves.
the
Yeah.
Clerks, yeah, themselves, and did a whole gimmick with them. And it's just like it's a great situation because you're mixing wrestling and pop culture and comic book stuff and anime, everything, and then you celebrities. Um, so I've opened my ideas to different characters. I'm bald naturally, so I shave because of my Kingpin character. So it's a small feat. I don't have to wear a mask all day, but I have played. I have already played. Obviously, Jeffrey the Giraffe. I've done Kingpin. I've done even Michael Myers. Don't ask me why. I did a Spooky Empire one time. I was the fattest, heaviest looking, smallest midget. Like I was a variant, like from like Wolverine, Deadpool. I'm a variant version of Michael Myers. I would have been me slashing, but I did a spin kick in the whole suit. So hey, that's skills. It was part of my contract. I thought about doing. I want to do Uncle Fester.
Oh, that could be fun.
I think that as me as a baby face, Uncle Fester at one of those like Halloween nightmare weekends they're gonna do, I had suggested doing like the light in the mouth with the hand, like the bulb, and you know what I mean, and have like it with me and everything like that. My kids always call me Mr. Clean when I do this look, so I thought for fun I'll dress up like Mr. Clean and just have a mop and do the whole thing. I got moves. There's just a lot of opening characters I've been open to want to do. My ultimate dream is to play Thanos, bro. Like I want to be Thanos. Like I want the whole suit. I'm a big fan of Thanos, man. So if I could just wear the whole thing, I mean the prosthetic chin, there's gotta be someone out there like, hey, everyone knows how much I love Thanos and I love the villains. I love Thanos and Darkseid. I'm a big fan of that growing up as a kid. A lot of the characters and words I use, the Authority, come on, Darkseid, these characters above all superior. So it's like I take a lot from that, and so being able to dress like that, I know that should be hard to play Darkseid because that's Darkseid. I mean Thanos, but it's right now. Kingpin has been my saving grace, man. Like it's been great. Everyone knows me as Kingpin. I'm known throughout all the cons I do as Kingpin. I've had people react to it. Vincent D'Onofrio himself retweeted me a couple times on Twitter or X, excuse me, when I tagged him myself with some of the concept art. I done stuff with Speedy Photography. I just did a reenactment of one of a lot of the Kingpin comic covers, the red and one that's on my that's a cover from another Kingpin. So I've been trying to really jump into it and to be like, when you think of Kingpin outside of like the show or the comic book in the cosplay world, I want them to think of just Eddie Taurus. You know what I mean? So that's also and that's a big marketing tool because, like you said, the young lady that saw me this past weekend, now she follows me, and I get a bunch of likes from my cosplay stuff because they see me not only as a cosplay wrestler, but as a professional wrestler in independence. And then they figure out everything else I do, first responders and kid father and all these other things I do, right? And the more important things, and so it's crazy, man. Like, but I'm Mr. Uncle Fester is probably the next one.
I think that one would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I do have one very, very serious question for you, though, Eddie, and I
Okay.
need an honest answer. How big are your biceps?
I feel like Bugs Bunny is just gonna drop right now. That's a very serious question, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. I thought the meat versus meat thing earlier was a real serious question as well. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't measure my biceps, man. But I'm gonna tell you something. I'm waiting for a picture I took this past weekend. So I posed for the anime like magazines they distribute with the anime shirts. Like I modeled, right? My old ass. And I modeled. So
We're all models now. We all have
we're all
Instagram,
models,
Eddie.
man. What the kids do, they do the whole, like this, the whole little look, whatever. Yeah, oh yeah. All that. My kids hate that. I always do like, what's this? And like, you don't got it. You don't got Riz. What's a Riz? Like, oh, whatever. Anyways, but my biceps, I think they're 18, maybe. I don't know. My shoulders are bigger than everything else, so
Okay. They
You know,
definitely pop off in pictures, though, Eddie.
I do. I tell you, I think even yesterday I'll have that picture of me flexing with the anime tank top. It's just all pink. It's with glasses on. I look dope. I mean, I look like, come on, man, you got to chisel this out of marble. You know what I mean? Like, wow, that's a serious question, man. I gave you a serious answer. You
I
know?
mean, it's
I
all
mean, it's
about
all about
hard hitting
hard hitting
journalism
journalism.
here on
That's
Tony
it,
and
man.
Entertainment. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, Eddie, is
Well,
there
Eddie, is
anything
there
else
anything else
cool
cool or
or interesting that you have
interesting that you
coming
have
up that you want to let us know
want to let us know
about?
about? Well, as of right now, I mean, everything's kind of mellow. I got shows coming up. I'm gonna be going back CCW. I'm gonna go down. Don't quote me on the dates. Terrible. Should have been more prepared. Blame it the old age. But I'm going to the next tank show for Bash. I'll be doing a four-way against Domino and three other individuals because I only worry about Domino. Uh,
He's got
well, he's got
the
the
strap.
strap.
So
Yes, it's out. Yeah, and I already wished it before, and I needed, it ended terribly, and I hate the fact that I didn't get it, so I'm gonna go after that. Of course, I'm still the Pride of Wrestling heavyweight champion. I just defended against no avail, decimated that situation. Same night, I wrestled Matt Taven at same night. Wrestled Matt Taven in Tampa at Magnanimous for the Havoc and Hayes. I'm going back to that next month. That show's gonna be there again, so I'm heavy into that. Um, right now, I mean, everything's kind of open. I'm working on other shows. I can't announce it yet, but I think you'll like the next one I might be announcing. So you go ahead and share that when you want. Um, I might be locking it in by tomorrow, but it's another big Florida promotion. But that being said, I mean, I got other stuff coming up next month, but a lot of CCW Pride of Wrestling, Pro Wrestling Action, of course, coming up next month. Doing a big Western thing at Altamont Springs. So please check that out. Again, Eric's like, get your stuff together. I don't remember names, dates, but as you say, I promote every day. So you can just look at my my Instagram, Eddie_Taurus. I'm big on Instagram, of course, on X. I'm also Eddie Taurus, all one, and of course the Authority Eddie Taurus on Facebook. I can't get on TikTok, even though I don't know where that's at in life because it bothers me. But YouTube, of course, the Authority Eddie Taurus. I'm trying to build that up more. And yeah, I might be getting into something with Grizzle Rant soon, more of a Grizzle Ranting. So of course, Tony, you're more than welcome to slide in my DMs. It'll be
I
some
always
proper
slide into your DMs,
slide in your
Eddie.
yeah, slide in your DMs, man. Push a little meat and give me some content, brother.
Absolutely. I'm
Absolutely,
always
I'm always
available.
available.
I always get
Always
excited
get
when I see
excited
those
when I see
Facebook
those
Live
Facebook
pop up with you. And if I have the chance, I always jump on and it's just fun. It's
just
just
fun. It's just
hearing
hearing
somebody's
somebody's
real
real
thoughts and
thoughts and
reactions. Is
reactions.
you don't get a
You
lot of
don't get a
that.
lot of that.
And
And
yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's
entertaining as
entertaining.
shit. I like
It's
it.
just it's just and that's what I'm grateful for. Like it's not like I'm saying it to be hurtful. Like I know I
No.
say it to be I come off strong and I always try to figure out ways to say different names. Viewer discretion is advised because it is. I'm gonna say things you won't like. It doesn't mean that just because you don't like it doesn't mean it's not truthful or it doesn't resonate within one way or another. Other people get perspective, and I'm grateful for that. I do it one because it's a way to vent out wrestling frustrations. Like come on, guys, what the hell are you doing? Some people are like, oh, you don't know it all. And I don't know it all, but I know more than most. You know what I mean? And doesn't mean that I'm not wrong. Doesn't mean I'm always going to be right. If I'm wrong, prove me right. Prove me that I'm wrong. Excuse me, and then be right about it. Like most of the time they don't. And I'm not saying I don't have faith in people. I have faith in those that I know are doing it right. And those who are doing it right, I never mentioned. Like I told you, if I'm not saying anything about you, you means you're doing it right. I don't have to praise you. I didn't get praised. I didn't get patted on the back every time I had a great match. Nowadays, people look for that type of extra accolades and like just. I don't need to be the first guy going in the locker room. Everybody's doing this. The crowd did it for me. You know what I mean? People afterwards did it for me. Now, it'd be great to get the type of love and reaction from people who run shows and stuff like that. I say they don't, saying a shot on them, but I don't look for that because I believe that they put me in a spot, if it's main event or not. They didn't know they trusted I could get it over and Eric could get it over and my opponent too, because I'm not by myself. It's the guys I work with too. It's a dance. We're doing it together, you know? So I'm never individual. I always treat wrestling a team sport. So when I go on these grizzle rants, I'm saying it collectively. You know what I mean? And I would never say anything that I don't practice or do myself. So I won't give false pretenses of like, do it this way. And then I've never done it. No, I've done it probably more times and failed more times than I would like to admit, but I did it, and now I'm doing it differently. Maybe this will work for you, you know. But what doesn't work for me may work for you, and vice versa. So, Rizzle ranting continues.
It will never stop.
It'll never fucking stop. You hear me, everybody? It'll never fucking stop.
Well, Eddie, thank you so much for your time. I'm glad we made this podcast happen because, like we said at the shows, it's 5 minutes, and it's a lot of story stuff and stuff we got to get through. But it's nice to sit down and talk for an hour and a half here now. And
I know I'm in trouble. I'm probably gonna get in trouble with my shoot here, but it's all right. Okay. They know what's up. So, no, you're good. Hey, you're good. They're gonna bow down to the authority too. Thank you.
They will. Well, as for us here on Tone Entertainment, please go check out the videos that I've dropped this week for Pro Wrestling Turbo. First time covering the promotion out there. We did a lot of in-character backstage interviews. We got more stuff from Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling dropping and coming this Friday again. It doesn't stop. And speaking of don't stop, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. live here on the channel. Julie Cutler will be back co-hosting with me, and we've got EC3 on here live at 8 p.m. So come back here 22 and a half hours from now. EC3 will be here on the channel. Well, Eddie, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
And guys, if you haven't already, hit that red subscribe button so you can stay tuned in here to Tone In Entertainment for future videos. Subscribe to the channel. Do it. Go now. Do it now.